What's happening, guys? We're back and we brought the chassis into the shop. Alright, after last week's episode, I decided that we had to get the chassis back in the shop. Went out, had to dig it out of like a 2-foot deep snowbank, but drug it out, hauled her into the shop here, put it up on the stilts, secured it with clamps, as Scott loves. So we can work on the chassis going forward. I'm still gonna work on the hood in the background, don't worry, but I want to get moving on this. So I think first order of business, and probably all we're gonna get done today, is a lot of the joints that we were welding when we didn't have a TIG welder, we just tacked them in place with the MIG. So I wanna come in and clean all those joints up, go over them with the TIG welder, solidify them up, and then probably throw a coat of paint on them to keep them from rusting. The big ones are gonna be the conduit that we welded in for the dash structure. That one seems to be rusting the worst, and I think it's because we cleaned it in that acid solution. I think it's got some pitting and whatnot. So I want to clean up those joints and anywhere where there's rust on the tubes, weld up all the connections, and then just throw a coat of primer on it. So yeah, I think we're just gonna use a wire brush and probably some Scotch-Brite and clean them up. So let's grab those and get to work. So the nice thing about surface rust is that it cleans off pretty easy, at least. We hit them all the connections with a wire wheel on the drill there, and then a little bit of Scotch-Brite and acetone. So they're nice and clean. It's worth mentioning again, we're welding conduit, it's zinc coated, do it in a well ventilated area. You can get fume fever and you can possibly die. So make sure you're well ventilated and try not to breathe in any of the fumes off of it. Yeah. Oh, and then the connections on the bottom and on the back side, we're not really that concerned about. It's really just these ones here on top of the tunnel and then kind of on the front side, because those are the ones we're gonna see. And this isn't really structural, but it is made to look pretty. So we're gonna take our time and hopefully not burn holes through them. All right, not bad progress. The welds on the ends are all done. Those weren't too bad. These ones in the middle were really tough. They just started to melt away at the conduit. So I think what I'm gonna do is stand the chassis up on its side. That way I'll be welding kind of down, and hopefully it's a better position so that I'm not kind of hunched over and in there kind of weird. And hopefully that'll make it a little easier to weld those nice. I don't want to make these just a gobby mess and then have to grind them away, because they are going to be like the most visible welds on the entire car. Same with these, I want those to be nice because once again, you're going to be staring at them all day. So I'm going to flip the chassis up, try to get a better angle of attack. Also, if my tube fitment game was a little bit better, this would be a lot easier, but there's some gaps I got to fill, so that's not making it easier. There's a bit of water trapped in the frame rail there, but this should make welding it a lot easier. Flipping the chassis up on its end like that made it way easier to weld those joints. This bottom one was like right at the perfect height. So when I went to weld the top one, I had to grab a toolbox to stand on so that I was at the right height again. Unfortunately, it appears that I'm terrible at welding, or at least out of practice, because every time I struck an arc, I pretty much had to grind my tungsten, and that ate up all my time for the evening. So we're out of time. I'm gonna have to call the episode there. We didn't get everything done that I wanted to get done, but that's all we can do today. So I'm also walking back and forth and finding all the joints that aren't fully welded and tying a piece of string around them. So next episode, I wanna finish the dash up, as well as go through the entire chassis end to end and make sure all the joints are fully welded before we move on any further. That way, if we're adding gussets or tabs or anything in the future, we don't have to worry about blocking off our access to those joints. So next episode is gonna be a lot of welding. Unfortunately, there probably won't be an episode on Monday because I'm going camping this weekend, so I don't really have a whole lot of time to film. So next episode is probably gonna be on Thursday. But in the meantime, guys, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Check us out on Instagram, Leftfootfirst Media. And yeah, we'll see you next episode. I'm out of here.